So I've come over today, I'm going to clear the plot, finally get rid of all the bits and bobs off this plot and lay some bark down. There's been a little bit of a delivery, so I'll try and put some of that down today. It's rained all night, but let's get on. So I think what I'm going to do is, I think the bark that I chipped the other day that's still fresh, I think I'm going to lay a path from the shed down to the polytunnel because as you can see, it's an absolute bog here because of all the rain. So that needs to be the priority today, to just make sure that this is not a bog. Right, let's clear all this mess. The plastic needs to go. And yeah, let's just try and get a bit of conformity here. Well, this has made hell of a difference already. And the fact that now it won't be muddy on my feet. And that little trolley, you know, that little truck that I've got, is such a godsend for your little allotment or your garden. You just pull it along, tip it up, and you know, you haven't got to be worrying about lifting bags and stuff. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. And the fantastic thing about these paths is that they were all free. You know, they were all the surrounding trees that were outside. So every year now I'll trim them back, chip them up, and I'll mulch the paths again. So it'll be a continuous thing that I can use something on the plot to benefit the plot. So another job that I need to get on and do as well is I need to take this apple tree out. So in the summer, I found this amazing apple tree further down the allotment while walking around. And I asked the owners and they said it was called Tickled Pink. And inside it was bright red and I'd never seen anything like it before. So I thought, what a perfect addition to this, you know, garden. So I'm gonna dig this one out, and sadly the previous owners decided to chop it right through the middle, and it was such a well-established apple tree as well, but such a shame. But I'm going to take this one out, and in its place I'm going to put Tickled Pink. And how amazing is this? It's just bright pink inside and so juicy and so much flavour, and I'm so happy that I've got one. And I managed to find one on Primrose. I couldn't find it anywhere else, but I found one, so I'm so happy that they had one. That's that job done. Never easy, is it? Now that I've taken out that tree, I think this will be a fantastic place to put a nice pond and a nice seating area here so that I can relax up here when I've done all my work on the grapevine garden. And I also think that maybe a few metal long beds across here. I don't know yet, but definitely one down here. I think a nice long metal bed down there. I can plant extra things in there, maybe carrots and things. And I'm getting excited now because it's starting to clear through. I'm having dribs and drabs of days where I can do it, but I'm clearing it through slowly but surely. Now the path will eventually come here and steer across, and the main entrance will be here on a bit of a curve again. And I'm thinking about putting some compost areas down the bottom there, because I think when I bring it in, I can dump it straight over. And I think Malcolm Kingswell's got the right idea of trying to make those compost, you know, bins. We have this habit of throwing them at the back of our plots and then not realising that we have to lug it all the way to the back of the plot, all the way back when it's finished. And also, does it really get enough sun and heat there? You know, I know it creates its own heat, but I think if it's at the front of the plot, it's not getting dark and damp, and it'll be beneficial that way. So that's one of my next plans. I think what I'll do now as well is I think I'll add the guttering on the front here, and then I can collect some water in here, and it'll be beneficial because at the moment it's just running down the side of the shed. So the gutters here from when I took it off to reclad. All right, let's get that done. Did I forget my drill? Yes. Am I going to go home and get it? No. So it's keeping the rain from running down the window, which hasn't been sealed yet. And then I'll pop up in the next couple of days and add all the fitments in so we can fit into this water butt. So I've just had a text message to say my tree's over there, it's been delivered, so that's perfect timing. I can pop over quickly, get that tree in, let's get it in the ground. So I've got my little tree, and I think it's about 5 foot long. So the idea is now that you don't want to plant this anywhere lower than the soil level that it came out of. So if you put it up here, the chances are it could rot. So always plant it to the depth that it was originally in. And also this is on an M26 rootstock, so I'm really happy about that. So I'm going to plant this in now, and luckily, because it's such a baby, I'm not going to get fruit off it for about 2 or 3 years, but it's a good investment. Now I've added some 2-year-old well-rotted manure into here and the compost that came with this tree. So I'm going to plant it in now, and I decided to put it over here. I know I dug out that other tree over there, but I decided that this would probably be a better area because I'm going to be doing a lot of work over there, and I don't want this to snap and be destroyed. So I thought this is more of a private area, and I have future plans for this tree area as well. So I think, you know, it'll be okay here. It's on a small rootstock, it'll be perfect. Let's get it in. So one thing to be mindful is before you plant as well is to check these tapes as well. This one was below the line, but if you can see, it was cutting into the tree. And what they'll do is they'll just cut off the circulation of the tree. So ensure that you check them. And the ones that are above the tree line will be okay because you can trim these off when they get, you know, they're thicker. But they are getting close now, and I think I might have to take a few more off because they're kind of choking the tree. So now that's done, I'll pop this in and I'll give it a good feed now in spring, and hopefully we'll have some lovely apples in the next 2 years. So the tree's in, it's been mulched with some of the bark, and I know that this will give me a beautiful tree in the future. So I've popped over because Nigel has sadly given up his plot over there, and I still haven't given him his £20 for this, so I need to see him for that. So I've got his tank off here, so that's going to go up to the fig and olive plot. That's the plan. It's tipping down with rain intermittently, but the nets are all wet. I've come over to get some produce because I'm doing some nice cooking, but let me show you what's going on so far. So the garlic is coming out, and some of the nasturtiums, which I still haven't put into pots, so I'm going to do that definitely today. They're all coming okay. So these are all coming up all right, the garlic. The elephant garlic is finally showing his head. So I'm happy about the elephant garlic because I need that for next year. Right, remember this lovely strawberry area, and it was so neat this year, but this is how quickly strawberries can become invasive. But let me show you my plan. So as you know, I've moved the strawberries over to this area now, and they're a new stock. So the problem was that this grapevine, it became such a big forest that this area here was all shaded. So I'm going to dig it all out, replant new things there that will be low down, won't need as much shade, and that'll be the plan for this. So all of this is going. So yeah, that's the plan for that. The next plan. So I'm planning on taking these beds, these metal beds off the grapevine, moving them up to the other plot next to the polytunnel there, and this area then, this will become a nice seating area then. These 3 beds obviously are going up, the ponds stay in, and then I'll have a nice picnic bench or something here, and then I'll be next to the fruit trees, next to the pond with the waterfall. That's the plan here. So these are going to go up. The onions in here looking amazing as well. As you can see, by putting this metal mesh over, it stopped the birds from pulling it all out, and yeah, they've grown really well. I'll leave this on now because the thing is, this metal is also keeping those stable. So it's coming to that time now where it starts getting windy and battering this plot, so I need to start battering down the hatches like everyone else is doing. I've come over to check on the girls, they're all fine, but I need to make sure that I don't get lazy and think it'll be okay, because always check twice. Batten down your greenhouse, batten down your polytunnel, because the winds are coming. So the main reason I've come over today as well is I'm going to let the girls out for one last little run. Avian flu restrictions are literally right upon us. I've got 2 days, but I thought I'd give them one last little run of the plot. They can have a little dig around, give them an hour, and I'm sure they'll enjoy that. My next plan is to sort this greenhouse out, give it a good sweep out, and then put staging all the way across here. So because I've got the polytunnel now, I won't need this as my main, growing area undercover. So that will be the main area, but up here now I can use this space for overflow and also for seedlings and stuff in spring. That's my plan for this. Is going to be for my seeds. And I've noticed that the potatoes in this bucket are growing new shoots. So we don't want that to happen. These are the Rudolph. So I'm going to come and collect some of these today. My other plan is the fruit bushes that's all down this one side of the path. They're going to go up to the other plot as well, I think, because there's loads of space up there. That's more the perennial plot, and I can use this path then for walking down rather than it being hustle and bustle. Plans, plans, plans. So it's a new day and I've quickly come up here because I came up the other day and I dug out most of the raspberry canes that were all becoming invasive and coming out onto the new path. So I've done that, and I've also barked a little bit more of the path. I collected all the bark that I needed and I put it all into these sacks. Let me show you how much I collected for this plot. 38 big sacks of bark, and it didn't even take a dent out of the big bark piles that we've had delivered. So I've got all this, and it took me honestly so long to do this. So altogether I think it was about 41, 42 sacks for both plots. And I know that sounds like a lot, and I think I overestimated it, to be honest, because I know I used 38 wheelbarrows down on the grapevine the last time I did it, but then I wasn't putting into account the fact that there was bare soil last time, so I needed to fill them up a lot, and this time I only need to put an inch or two on. So I've done the other plot, and now I've come up here to quickly, before the sun goes down. I've got an hour, and I want to try and get this path in, so wish me luck. So I finally put in the one path, the main path in now, so I'm pleased. Let me show you it. So I've left a gap by the side because I do want to put some compost in there. I'm going to plant some tulips. I'm late, but I'm going to plant them in now in the next day or two. Go all the way down here then. I'll still use this path at the moment, but I love the fact now that there's like a triangle bed there, and that'll be full of flowers and perennial things like artichokes and maybe even some kales. That'll be a huge big area there that is going to look like a nice meadow at some point. And then the same thing here, there'll be another triangle. The path will come down here, a small path will go all the way down there. I'll probably do that today actually. I don't know whether or not to put some raised beds in here. I know I'm going to have a seating area at the top, but I'm debating whether or not to have a few raised beds or do like this Charles Dowd inside, you know, mounting it up and growing in the mounds. We'll see. So I think I'll bark all this now as well. The tree seems to be settling in nicely. I want all this to be barked, and then I'm going to put all my fruit bushes in here. And yeah, it's coming together now. This area is still a mess, all the junk that was left on the plot. I'm hoping there's some nice compost under there. So I think that was an old compost heap. And inside here there's some compost as well, so I'm going to sort all that out. I think this was an old coal bunker that they used to store all the coal in the top, put the lid on, and then they'd shovel it from the bottom. So I think that's just been reused, but I'm going to use it again because I like it, it's quirky. So I've mulched all up the top now, and let me show you that first. So not only are most of the bark paths finished now, I've also done the fruit area. So I'm glad that this is done because it's a muddy area, and now I can plant all the fruit bushes out when I need to. Another job done. So I feel so happy now that all these jobs are starting to be ticked off. And yeah, I feel like all I need to do now on the grapevine plot is put all the manure down that's been rotting over for about a year, 18 months, and top dress all the beds, and then concentrate on the beds up here. Right, that's done. I'm Danny, and this is the Grapevine Garden.